Welcome to Court Helicopter Explainer Festivities episodes, where we are looking at episode 3 of what happens when you have been arrested. We have dealt with at the police station. Episode 2, we have dealt with at the offices of the ODPP. Episode 3, you have been brought before a criminal court for you to take plea. The first thing that happens, if you are released on cash bail, once you come to court, the police will take over you and release you your cash bail. You'll have to hand them over the official cash bail receipt and they hand you the cash bail. 2, you will be called, your charge sheet will be called by the magistrate or the clerk who sits here just in front of the court clerk who sits here. You will be at the dock here. This is the dock where you'll be arraigned. For those ones who are coming from the police station, they'll come handcuffed. Once they have been called to the dock, the handcuffs will be removed. The charge sheet, the first thing is your name will be called. If you are 10, all of you will be called. You'll stand up because you don't take plea while seated unless you're sick. The clerk calls you, or the magistrate calls you, or the judge calls you. You answer. For the magistrate, we dealt with it. You call him your honor. For the judge, you say, my lordship, or my ladyship. Then the charge sheet will be read, the counts. Murder, contrary to section 203 or 204, as read with 205, whatever it is. Do you plead guilty or not guilty? The charge is read first. You plead guilty or not guilty. If you plead guilty, then now you will be read the particulars. The first thing, if you plead guilty, the judge or magistrate will enter a plea of guilt or a plea of not guilty. But if you read a plea of not guilty, the particulars will be read. You'll also say not guilty. If you have an advocate, your advocate will now come in, introduce himself, and tell the court, my name is Wakili Danstan Omari. I am representing the first, second. Mr. Cliff Ombeta is representing the fourth. Mr. Samson Nyaberi is representing the fifth. Mr. Shadrach Wambo is representing the sixth. That is what is called quorum. The prosecutor will also introduce themselves. My name is Hassan Mugambi. I'm representing the state in this matter. In matters where there are amicus, remember we dealt with amicus, friends of the court, or advocates watching brief. We dealt with who is an advocate who is watching brief. They will also introduce themselves and the official court record will indicate that. There are different courts. Some courts, you will see, some courts have the microphone. Let me have that microphone so that the courts, some of the courts, you'll find there is a microphone like this one. So you'll be told, you'll be talking while the court is recording. So this is a recording machine in most courts as the judiciary is transforming. It will be recording it verbatim. And the judge will be listening, taking few notes, but the transcriber is recording. So some courts have this. So when you see them, don't get worried. Why do we have this on record? So this records you as you address the court. So once you are told, address using this, don't be shocked. That is normal. So the proceedings now have started. You have said not guilty. You have said guilty. If you have said guilty, the next stage is to argue for your cash bail. Remember, there are two ways to deal with this matter. In magistrates' courts, the law is that you make an oral application to have yourself released on cash bail. But the state can file an affidavit to oppose bail. So you might find that there is an affidavit to oppose bail, and you have been given that affidavit, or your advocates have been given that affidavit, where the state is saying they have looked for you for 10 days, you switched off your phone, you ran away from your home, you have never come to work, you have changed residence, they found you at the border escaping to Uganda, they found you at JKIA airport running away, you tampered with the scene of the crime, you are a very hard person, or the state arrested you, brought you to court today, they need to arrest other people. That is what is called an affidavit to oppose bail. If there's an affidavit to oppose bail, most of the time, the police officer who has sworn that affidavit to oppose bail can be summoned to the dock to be cross-examined. Or the court can order only the prosecutor to argue what the affidavit or to oppose bail has been said. You will either, if you have an advocate, the advocate will argue to release the court to release you on bail, or that affidavit does not provide enough evidence to detain you. The court will be called to make a ruling. This is a ruling. Remember, court helicopters taught you there's a difference between a ruling and a judgment. So the court will say ruling after 2 days, or ruling at 2:30, or ruling next week. Meanwhile, you will be detained at the police station until the ruling is done. So you come on the ruling day, the court says you have been released on bond of 2 million shillings or cash bail of 5,000 shillings. We did an explainer what is bond and what is bail. Cash bail is money you deposit in court. Bond is a property document of ownership that you'll detain to court to be released. After the court has pronounced itself on bond and bail terms, the court will take a mention date for what is called a pretrial conference. Pretrial conference is where the accused person will be given all the documents, all the evidence, all the witness statements, all the annexures the state wants to rely on. Because under the Constitution of Kenya, you do not get ambushed for trial. You get your documents ready, you discuss with your advocate, you give him your side of the story, and they prepare for a date. That is what is called pretrial conference. Pretrial conference comes when these things are supposed to be done. After pretrial conference, the court now takes a hearing date. That will be episode 4, when you shall be looking at what now will happen during the hearing state. If you have cash bail, you'll pay, you'll go home. If you don't have cash bail or bond, you'll be taken to a remand prison. This is the first time. Now you go to remand. Then by law, within 14 days, a mention date must be there. Everybody in remand must always be coming for a mention date. 1, the court to see the health condition of an accused person. 2, to allow the accused person or their lawyers to make an application for either to review the terms or if you want to be taken to hospital. Wakili Danstan Omari on the episode 3, where we have looked at the plea taking and all other issues related to plea taking. Enjoy your Christmas, Happy New Year, and be with your loved ones if this court helicopter values you very much. Thank you.